everyone. It is hi, everyone, and welcome to TWF Dynamite, or Mike. Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone, and Taz here. And today on Dynamite, or Mike, we have a good show, we believe, that we have set here today. That we got set here today, and hopefully it will be, hopefully it will be a good show. Mike Lane says, well, hopefully it will be a good show, Tony Schiavone says. Hopefully it'll be a good show, Mike Lane, because we've already come off of the Royal Rumble, or the Kingly Thunder, and we're yielding our way to our next show, whenever that's going to be, Tony Schiavone says. I'll tell you one thing, Taz says. I'll tell you one thing, Taz says. Whatever that show's going to be, whatever that show's going to be, it's going to be a good one, hopefully, Taz says. And, yeah. But I can tell you one thing, Mike and Tony. I think it's going to be a good show. At least that's what I believe. Taz says. Well, I can tell you one thing. Mike Lane says we have Miko Sanatini in the ring. If I'm saying that name right or not. Well, I believe you are saying that name right, Tony Schiavone says. I believe you are saying that name right, I believe. Alright. Alright, Miko Sanatino says. First off, I know that there's someone out there who thinks that they can't be beaten. Someone out there who thinks they can't be unyielded or unstopped. And no, if you're thinking if you start throwing out names, most likely you would be wrong, with that name, with that fellow, if you believe that. Yeah, I'm talking about you, Xia Li. You somehow gotten into your head that since you became the TWF 24/7 fighter, that you somehow have this thing of being unbeatable or unstoppable. But then I know that the truth is in WWE things didn't quite. But then this is the same woman who thought that this was the same. That's what you thought when you were starting shit with Becky Lynch and starting shit with with Cara Valkyria. If that's how you say her name, because I don't really know. I'm just making a guess's way of saying her name. And what happened? You lost to Becky Lynch on Alone Night Raw. You lost to Tara Valkyria on NXT. Then after that, you were doing matches on Main Event or Main Show, I believe. You were in the Royal Rumble, the Kingly Loudness, at least a woman's offshoot of it. So I'm calling you out because I want the TWF 24/7 winnings. Well, we all do know, Mike Lane says, by calling Xia Li out, it's not going to be good, for Miko Sanatini. And I'm sorry for always coughing all the time in my films. We have really no runner lead over it. Mike Lane says, but here comes Xia Li, the TWF 24/7 fighter. There she is, Tony Schiavone says. The woman who thinks she's unbeatable and unstoppable since being. So let me get this straight. A fake law keeper, is telling me that he thinks he can beat me. Well, let me tell you something. If you truly think that you can beat me, then put your mouth where your galled is, because I'll put the TWF 24/7 winnings on stake here today, but it's going to be you getting your head knocked off. You saw what happened to Jed Jaguar, you saw what happened to Masco, you saw what happened to King Valkyrie. Yeah, that's going to happen to you. So, get me the Fight Lord out here now. Well, we just got the Fight Lord in the ring now, and shit. He just fell down. This is for the TWF 24/7 winnings. First, he is Miko Sanatini, and she is the TWF 24/7 fighter, Xia Li. And keep in mind, Xia Li's only half right. You know, Mike Lane said she beat King Valkyrie, she beat Masco. You know, none of them were lucky to take the TWF 24/7 winnings off her. Mike Lane said, yeah, Tony Schiavone said, it's those kicks of hers. She hits you one time and knocks you down. Yeah, Taz says Xia Li is daring folks to fight her, and they're living if she lets them. And they're going to be only another beating, Taz says. And Xia Li just knocked out Nico Sanatino. Just knocked out Miko Sanatini, Mike Lane says. Yeah, this is over, Tony Schiavone said. You can count to 100 or so. This is done. Oh yeah, Taz says. She warned him. 1, 2, 3. Ding ding ding. Here is your winner, and still the TWF 24/7 fighter, Xia Li. And Xia Li is still the TWF 24/7 fighter after beating Miko Sanatino. No, my mistake. Nico Sanatini here today on Dynamite. Or Mike Lane says. Well, you're right about that, Tony Schiavone said. Xia Li, is still the TWF 24/7 fighter. But for how long will this be? How long will this Far Eastern Eastlander, hold the TWF 24/7 winnings? I can tell you one thing right now, Mike and Tony. Taz said she'll hold it as long as she wants to. At least she doesn't have to worry about anyone else coming at her, because she already beat King Valkyrie sundriest times. She already beat Masco, the Might players, many times. So at the end of the day, who's going to be next to dare her? Taz said, you gotta have a death wish. Well, speaking of someone who need not have a death wish, speaking away, Tony, take it away now, Mike Lane said, Jonathan Coachman. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. I'm going to be talking with Xia Li here today on Dynamite or Might. Alright, Xia Li, ever since you came from the Folkreich to the 4-1 Reichs of Vinland, you have kept the TWF 24/7 winnings, and you have beaten a lot of skilled wrestlers like King Valkyrie, Masco of the Might players, Miko Sanatini from Miko Above the Law. First off, Jonathan Coachman, this is a rough start to how my wrestling calling went. You see, I was in WWE for many years and still there, and I was on NXT for a long time. Then I was put on SmackDown. Then I was put on Raw. But you see, I became the TWF 24/7 fighter because I know no one can beat me. And I am probably one of the very few skilled wrestlers that come from the Folkreich of Eastland to the 4-1 Reichs of Vinland. Anyway, Nico Sanatini, he learned what Masco learned and what King Valkyrie learned. You fuck with me, and I'll kick your head off. Well, I can tell you one thing, Xia Li. The TWF 24/7 winnings is not a smooth winnings. It's smooth to win it, but it's hard to keep it. Well, if that's true, then I guess King Valkyrie and Masco and Nico Sanatini, they weren't thinking hard enough, were they? No, I guess they were not. Alright, that's my talk with Xia Li. Back to you, Mike Lane and Tony Schiavone. Thank you, Jonathan Coachman, for talking with Xia Li here today on Dynamite or Might. And that's all the time we got here for Dynamite or Might. I, Mike Lane, Tony Schiavone, and Taz. We hope you like Dynamite or Might, and we'll see you tomorrow for Impact or Hit.